because it's going to take a while. It's going to take at least a few seconds for it to go.
Oh, well, I'm actually just gonna listen because I gotta edit this video.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
doing a top 5 Liam's showdowns.
I did download that video. It was on OBS. It finished, then I turned it off. Then I turned off your computer.
You mean someone was like fucking begging for like, oh, Liam's doing a stream, and it's like, okay.
It was on OBS.
Okay, now it's on. But yeah, people are like, oh, Liam's doing a stream, and it's like, okay. I mean, fucking, I assume he does streams often. It's like, oh, yeah, somebody should do something about it. It's like, yeah, I guess they should. Are you know, we don't fucking, we have better things to do than record streams, but, yeah, but, I mean, he still has the stream up, so just, downloading it now is just a matter of just clicking it in the fucking, it's really kind of gay of YouTube, is that, as soon as the stream finishes, you can't download it because then it's like, oh, we're fucking gonna have people. Oh no, people are gonna mirror it. I better make it private. It's weird how many of them just back right off of their own words. Like they'll say something and then immediately backpedal.
Again, it's like cyberbullying.
Yeah, just close your eyes, nigga. No call. Let's see. It is live. It is live. So what we're gonna do? Well, hold on a second. You know what? We'll just do a little intro or something. It's just me and my brother, I guess. But we're gonna do this stream for a couple days. But before we do, get something.
Starting with the ActRaiser or Pilot Wings music.
ActRaiser, Pilot Wings. You know what? Let me do that. I will. I'm gonna take a little fucking precursor first. But here, let me play this.
Then fade it out slowly. There's also some Warframe. Warframe just patched, and I played an hour of Fallout 76 today. You know, I'm not sure I'm hearing that. I think over the mic. It should be broadcasting to the show, otherwise it's gonna echo.
Fuck it. That music was probably blasting, like whatever you were saying, the music was probably blasting your levels out. No one could
probably.
hear.
It was probably echoing then.
No, the one thing that's interesting, and I could try and listen to this later, but I mean, first of all, it's in the levels, so it's not the microphone, it's the fucking levels. But the mic I have, this Happy Snowball, doesn't seem to pick up any sound from my speakers, which is nice. Anyways, the subject of today's video is about the guy who is basically responsible. We mentioned him before because we got some hints. We're like some of the only people who have seen behind the curtain as far as Comicsgate. Most everyone has no clue what's going on behind the scenes of the entire movement. But basically, most of the funding of Comicsgate isn't even real, and it's just generated from a couple of rich guys through several sock puppet accounts, or sometimes not even sock puppet accounts. So that's what today's video is about how Comicsgate's funding doesn't even exist for at least a giant part of it. Now, of course, there's some
anyone who thinks that they got fucking duped, they got suckered in.
Yeah, it's about how people got suckered in. So here, I'm not going to show the information, because again, there's basically what happened was on Kiwi Farms, the guy, somebody named Mr. Biggins, got doxed or doxed, which is fucking, it's spelled, fucking out.
James Doxed. James Doxed.
James Doxed. Surprise, motherfucker. Heart eyes, motherfucker. But it's on Kiwi Farms, the Comicsgate thread, page 1201. 1201. Is that ominous? No, Not really. But
code. No, not really.
And it's like halfway down this big ass fucking page. The Yusha Sama guy, which is it's not showing up here. Oh no, it is. Um, Makes a post in response to Analog Devolved, who says TLDR, Mr. Biggins is a simp with more money than brains. He knows nothing about art, and I hope he gets doxed for being a retarded faggot. Which in this case, now here's the thing. I'm not gonna fucking share. I'm not gonna show the thread because then it gives out his name and like his picture and stuff. So I'm not gonna say like here's all the information. It's Kiwi Farms. So as far as going there, I'm not saying to go there. Not saying. Speaking of Nazis, Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini, part of our alt-right attempt to infiltrate and destroy the innocent purity, the beautiful innocent purity of Comicsgate. Mission accomplished. But no, this was something that actually a few people who again we've people who've seen behind the curtain or behind the candelabra in this case of Comicsgate. People who've known what's going on the inside of Comicsgate have talked to us in private about a lot of things, and we haven't talked about it because it's just
because stuff. we are first off completely neutral. Like we're not an attack. We're not some kind of attack squad.
Yeah, we've never been that. And everyone who eventually has come to us has known that and realized that. But the thing is that the people who are angry at us have to push that as like the false narrative for a cover of why they're so mad, when really the reason they're mad is because we're right. But they can't admit that, you're not going to see people in Comicsgate say, I'm mad at those SWC shitty people because they're right and I'm angry about that. People don't talk like that. What
they're insane with anger. They are insane with anger.
They are the saint of anger. But anyways,
they're insane with anger.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so there was this Mr. and Mrs. Biggins, which is a name they actually we were never told. What we were told was from people who were, deep within Comicsgate, who fucking were sort of sending us the secret messages and information. And we didn't even want to come out and say that for a long time either. But
the secret messages are calling to us endlessly. They call to us across the air.
And, they're in America.
No, that's calling America.
They're calling America, even. Yeah, I fucking spaced out. I actually only just woke up like a couple hours ago. Waking up at the crack of 6. At night. But,
6 p.m.
Yeah. But we wanted to do a thread. We want to do a stream about this because, again, this will be the first video ever in history to go over this.
It's so important. It is something that we suspected for a long time.
Well, no, not suspected. We were directly told by people within Comicsgate that there are a couple of rich people who are just artificially panning most of Comicsgate's campaigns, which explains why Ethan Van Sciver's campaigns get so much more money, and then other people in Comicsgate don't even get that much money, because Ethan likes to pretend that his comic is just that much better when even other backers in Comicsgate admit that it's not. The fact is, Ethan is just personal friends with a rich, he's a plastic surgeon who lives in Texas. That's something we were told directly, is that there's a plastic surgeon who lives in Texas. Ethan's been to his house many times. That the guy is a complete simp for Comicsgate and specifically for Ethan Van Sciver and for, the idea of the movement. So he's just been throwing money. And the thing is, there's probably more to it than even Kiwi Farms is still aware of. But what they did is they actually did their due diligence, which is nice to see every once in a while. So actually some big ups to this Yusha Sama guy, and also Smug Frieza, I think he mentions at the end, helped out with doing some digging. And the thing is, I don't actually consider, and personally in this case, I don't consider any of this doxing because it's information that's relevant to the truth about debunking one of the many great lies of Comicsgate, that like one of the things we pointed out is that Comicsgate was noticeably shrinking. We were the first people to ever point that out, and even other comic creators and pros told us in private that and that's not us bragging or name dropping, because the thing is that I don't want to fucking out any of this stuff. We didn't want to out that people were telling us about this guy in particular.
Isn't the doxing, and this isn't about doxing either. We're not doing that. We're not engaging in that.
No. It's actually doing due diligence about secret activity from a movement to cover up, basically it's like one gigantic gayop, but that also funded other gayops and doxing and direct attacking and harassment, like doxing and attacking of like housewives and stuff who were customers in Comicsgate. Comicsgate is directly, affiliated with criminal activity, and a lot of the money to pay for that to be done was paid for by this Mr. Biggins guy, and also, covering up the artificial the artificial growth to cover up the natural entropy that we pointed out was happening. So, and the only reason why I even point out that we were the first to say it is because legitimately we stood completely alone with nobody in Comicsgate admitting that we were right, except for other creators, not just fucking like backers or customers, but other creators, fucking massively popular, successful creators, in fact, were coming to us in private to be like, you guys are completely right about this. Not to tell us, not to dish stuff that, is behind the scenes shit we didn't know, but to confirm the stuff that we had been saying was correct all along. And Comicsgate now officially is also in favor of deplatforming to cover up that. But that's why we're like, anyone else could have done a video about this right here, this information right here. Anyone else could have done a video about this before this, and nobody ever has. Again, we are now the first people to ever do a video about this. But mainly it's because, we don't do digging. As we've always said 1,000 times over the past couple of years, we're not journalists. We don't do digging. We're just fucking writers. We write comics. That's it. And we've written comics for years and years before Comicsgate ever existed. So,
as a writer, I find this shit to be fascinating. It's kind of like history. I find that shit fascinating.
Fascinating. But, again, one of the things we said and actually rightfully made fun of Kiwi Farms about, and even some of the people in Kiwi Farms had to sort of concede that we were right about that, is that they don't do a lot of digging about this really obvious stuff. Look at how long it took for this to come out. But I will give the propers to, again, Yusha Sama and Smug Frieza, the delightful Smug Frieza, who, just the other day on our Discord, I was reading through a Smug Frieza post, and I was like, oh, you know what, this is wrong, though. This isn't very accurate, but...
This isn't us.
Yeah, it clearly, seems a bit obvious, but if we were, say, going to do what is known, what we have invented as a heterosexual op to discredit people like Comic Book Hut and Tug, coincidentally, both of them at the same time, with tricking them into pushing false information to discredit their reputations, and they completely
tricked them into doing that just by getting them to talk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had actually done that like a couple of years ago with Tug. Again, we're one of the first to do that because it's true. The only reason why we keep bragging and pointing out that we were the first to do this and the first to do that is because it's objectively, measurably, quantifiably true. That's the only reason.
If it wasn't the evidence, the evidence has already been put on display for everybody to see.
But we give credit to when other people actually do the work or the digging too. Like fucking Vicky is the one to really confront Ethan about the Ribicoin thing. Like I did the video about the fucking Mayo coin and showed that it was fake, but it was Vicky who actually pushed it and got Ethan to fucking like not only like fucking panic cope, but then completely back down and refund in giant sneer quotes refund the campaign, which he didn't because a lot of the campaign was funded by this rich guy who wasn't actually buying anything. He was just donating. And that's been true throughout the entire history of Comicsgate. People who know behind the scenes, people who have seen and have been actually been there, sometimes in person, behind the scenes in Comicsgate, know in person that most of Comicsgate's funding has never actually existed and been completely fake. And this is a giant part of that story. There's a lot of other disconnected parts about it. But this one in particular, as far as I hope he gets doxed for being a retarded faggot, but again, it's like the accusation at first was he is a simp with more money than brains. The thing is that yeah, it was more than that, and we dropped hints. I know we mentioned it a couple times in videos that some rich guy was just backing a bunch of his campaigns
in the middle of the Florida Everglades.
Yeah, no, or it was Texas, but also there was there was even talk of the other guy in Las Vegas, and it got enough to where I think actually on Kiwi Farms months and months ago somebody brought them up to and they think they tagged Ethan, and Ethan actually had to address it and was like, no, those guys don't even donate to me, they don't. And then that turned, of course that was obviously a lie then, and that's when people should have done digging, but it took until basically now. This post was made Sunday and today's Wednesday, so it was about 4 days ago when this post was made, basically where this guy doxes, and to be honest all he really did was just look up names and just follow the connection. So it's not like it was like
Google search it. Basically they found a name, they Google searched it.
Yeah. Well, in this case, I think a little more was going to... And so I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but it is, Mr. Biggins and his wife, who, again, it's
like
pertinent information because it's about the actual fraudulent backing, as well as Ethan donating to himself, and then also Dynamite Comics donating to him as well. He was basically pulling in as many people to artificially inflate his campaigns, which is why his campaigns always got more money than everyone else's and more quickly.
And normally I something like that, I'd be like, whatever, it's a clever trick. But then he goes and he brags and compares himself to other people who don't do that and didn't make as much money. When you do that, you're officially no longer a man.
Well, also, by the way, notice
fucking scrotumless faggot cunt.
The exact same thing happened with Joe Biden. In fact, people make memes about the graph where fucking Joe Biden's numbers are fucking beneath Ethan's or fucking
Trump's.
Trump's. And again, I just woke up, so I'm fucking just
we have justification.
Yeah.
Again, this isn't our job. This is all your people's job. You fucking idiots who got scammed. You should have been the ones on top of this.
Yeah, and every single one of you failed. Like, you take the backer list of Comicsgate, every single supporter of Comicsgate, every single one of them is now a list of a failed person who was not able to be honest. And that's that's not my speculation, that's not my opinion. It's now objective.
They just flushed their money down the toilet like an idiot.
Yeah, but also to directly fund somebody who used the money not to make comics, but to do gay ops and fucking and to attack even his own customers. Ethan Van Sciver took your backer money and attacked his own customers. He doxed his own customers too, in fact. And that's not an accusation. That's something that everyone knows. And if you don't know it, you are just a useful idiot. You're the people in Soviet Russia who actually argued in favor of why the gulags and fucking socialism were necessary. That's what Comicsgate is, as a collective, as a people.
They're literally doing that now.
Yes.
It's not even a metaphor.
Yeah, that's not a metaphor. That's something Comicsgate actually does, unironically.
It's internet gulagging people for wrongthink.
Yeah. Yeah, again, that's not a metaphor. That's something Comicsgate not just does, but openly believes in and argues in favor of, while also at the same time, out of the same mouth, even out of the same side of the mouth, saying that they don't do that and they're against that behavior as they are then practicing that behavior. It's called hypocrisy. And Comicsgate doesn't actually know what the word means. But anyways, yeah, but there's a lot to point out about it. I was just saying something about it. I don't even remember what it was now, but basically,
so yet again another important, pertinent piece of information.
One of the most important pieces of information anyone will ever hear in their entire lives. I already forgot what I know what it is as a person. I just forgot to finish saying it. And,
it's a fundamental, important all of your element
loss, basically.
That I don't even need to say. Don't need to say it, but you people apparently are too stupid to figure it out on your own.
All the rest of you don't even know what it is. I just know it as a person. None of you actually know what it is as a behavior or as a concept, which is sad. But anyways, in the thread, ask and you shall receive. But first, let's take a trip back in time and explore who Mr. and Mrs. Biggins are. One thing I want to point out is that they have a lot of weird similarities to Tug, except that these people actually have money. Anyways, the first time we hear of Mr. and Mrs. Biggins was during the fundraising campaign for Richard C. Myers crowdfund with his legal battle with Mark Waid, as reported on by King of Nothing here.
You might remember fucking Richard C. Meyer. He was the guy who had a gigantic, successful fucking first comic Kickstarter. It waned as soon as he started making other comics, in particular because his comics are terrible.
Yeah, that was another very important point, is that the it was about Donald Trump. It was about how Donald Trump was beating Joe Biden. Then all of a sudden, a mysterious stop in the counting, and then all of a sudden that blue line just straight up with Joe Biden's numbers suddenly beating Trump's out of nowhere. That is that's not just metaphorically, that is literally the exact same thing that happened with Comicsgate, where Comicsgate's numbers, their backing, was plateauing. In fact, some of them were even saying it and admitting it out loud. Some of them were getting, we had pointed out in 2018, Comicsgate would start getting less and less money and backers and support. And then in 2019, the math showed that we were right all along, which, again, other people who had been behind the scenes in Comicsgate came to us and said, wow, you guys completely called that. And it's like, yeah, it's called the issue 2 effect. It's not even something we observed. It's something that other people.
Yeah, we didn't invent this. They'll act like we invented this. We didn't. No.
In fact, it was the E. Lion who I remember told me a lot about. It's something we had all kind of known in general, though. Not just him, but even Choom, I'll mention, not necessarily by name. But he was even telling us about that as, in the mid-2000s.
Well, I mean, before then, I heard of a sophomore slump. That was something musicians did.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Very
band releases the second album, and it's usually not as good as the first.
Yeah, because the first album is 10 years of touring and tweaking and refining a bunch of different songs. All of them end up on that one album. Then when it comes to the second album, they have to start from scratch and only have maybe a year or two to put it out.
Maybe a few clunkers that they didn't put on the first album.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, what happens in comics is people buy the number one issue for two reasons. One is for collector's value, because it's this is the number one.
And which there's almost none in reality.
Yeah, and then the other reason is out of curiosity to see if the comic's good. It's and that's a lot of people in comics in general, not just, also Comicsgate, but not just in Comicsgate, but all of comics are completely clueless about, is that you have your first issue to grab a reader so violently that they cannot say no to the next issue. And most people who make comics are completely clueless and incompetent about doing that. So their second issue drops off. And that all started happening with Comicsgate. All of their second issues, all of their follow up campaigns made less and less money. And we did videos. We were the only people to do videos gloating about it and saying that, we said this was going to happen. Now it's happening. And Ethan was subscribed to our channel. So the first thing he did was called in all of his favors with rich people to artificially pad Cyberfrog 2 to act like instead of shrinking, it was growing. So he fucking, and one of the guys that everyone knew behind the scenes, everyone knew this, we knew this because people behind the scenes had come to us and told us. And this was in 2019. And we mentioned this a couple times, but the thing is, we didn't look into it. It was just stuff that people about us. But the thing is, we didn't need to look into it because our point was already still proven. And then you actually made the comparison to The Big Short, where you were talking about how the mortgage bonds were plummeting in value, so the banks in response said that they were going up in value. And it's like, but if you do that, that's fraud. That's illegal, right? And it was. And
first off, it's fraud. Secondly, how do you even do that without somebody being like, "No, that's not true. You can't do that." Apparently, you just can.
But yeah, so all of that together, all of that combined is the big picture. We just laid it out for you. And then this post here where they dox Mr. Biggins, which is actually morally correct in this case. It's not just like, haha, we doxed somebody because we could find. This is about a guy who
you should go hunt him down.
Fraud, basically,
and harassment go hunt him down and kill him because you've doxed him. I've got his address. Now what are we going to do? Let's hunt him down and kill him. No.
But yeah, I mean, no one's going to do that anyways. The thing is that
what
this is doing is outing a person who helped commit the fraud of the movement.
And I want everyone to know ahead of time, no, we're not.
But also, we're not giving out his name anyway. I'm not fucking giving out his name. No, we're not going to mention
we're not
his name.
Giving out
I'm
the
not going to show his pictures.
That's another extremely important, salient point right there that everyone needs to understand.
Yeah, which, I mean, other people will be like, ooh, they'll say that and they'll be wrong. But that's Comicsgate. Comicsgate can't argue. And
again, kind of like with the housing market, they're going to claim this, and then, in the short term, they're going to see themselves as winners. Ultimately, they will be the biggest
through fraud, through like artificial backing and fake. Basically, that's how Comicsgate's been doing it since the past year, especially mostly this year, is that Comicsgate has been floating along by the false artificial image of growth and backing when actually most of the backing they are getting doesn't actually exist at all. In fact, that was another funny thing is Ethan Van Sciver actually requested a refund from Liam, and he requested all of the refunds because Ethan didn't back Xenotype. He donated I think a dozen times. It was like 12 separate donations to Xenotype over and over again, which proves what we just said, that Comicsgate is artificially backed. None of the backing isn't real.
It's that he fucking donated separately so that it looked like it was different donators.
Yeah, that's another thing that the thing is Ethan did it all under his own name. But the thing is, what Mr. and Mrs. Biggins did here was Tug and everyone in War Campaign, and also Ethan actually, is that they're very accustomed to using lots and lots of sock puppet accounts. So and especially these people who are rich, who could just fucking not only use sock puppet accounts but pay other people to use sock puppet accounts. Considering that these people did fund War Campaign, who used, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, hundreds of sock puppet accounts in order to back each other up in internet arguments. And those people are part of Comicsgate and always were. And Comicsgate, in fact, a lot of them still make excuses for them and still say that that they were good and right. In fact,
one of the common excuses now, because they've been caught, is what's war campaign?
yeah, exactly.
You'll see them
A lot of
straight
them
up.
who donated
People
money.
who gave them aid are now claiming they don't know what war campaign is.
Yeah, that's another of the that's
Very
Comicsgate.
important.
Comicsgate collectively as a people are now they're backpedaling and like cowering away as they're getting caught. The Comicsgate cries out in pain as it strikes itself. But that's what happened.
It's even worse.
That's what's happening now as we've called yet again. Like every single person who has listened to us has admitted that we've called something and then it's happened every single time. And the people who don't like what we have to say fucking don't say that. They're like, no, you guys didn't do that because
they get really
we're
bothered.
right. Because we've been right every single time. Not only right, but right when everyone else was saying otherwise, and then everyone else gets proven wrong. When they get proven wrong, it's just like you just said. All of a sudden, they're like, I don't even know who that is. Who's Liam Gray? I've never heard of him. It's like you donated tens of thousands of dollars to him, unless nobody did. So then that proves again what we just said is that there is no Comicsgate funding. There's no such thing as any Comicsgate funding, and none of it's real.
But at the same time, even then, he's the biggest name in your stupid failed movement. So if you don't know who he is, then who are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, which goes. It's like saying you don't know who Ethan Van Sciver is.
Elvis Presley, who's that? I've never heard. Fuck Elvis Presley. I'm a rock and roll fan.
I never heard of the Beatles. Anyways.
But you know who is really great? Enough Zenough.
Yeah, those are the real cool guys.
I'm going to go see Enough Zenough.
You know who the lead guitarist is? Chip Zenough. Anyways,
why would Comicsgate do that? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Comicsgate's into fucking that shit. Were they the biggest retards on planet Earth?
Yes, they are.
This isn't even a good fucking comparison because at least Enough's Enough put out music.
They did something. They actually did something.
They actually weren't just the biggest fucking pathetic, laughable failures on planet Earth. And you can't just like point to their fans and be like, you idiots fucking went to see a band that doesn't exist. Fucking 30,000 of you showed up to an empty arena.
They never happened.
It's like the world's biggest joke, and nobody even knows about it.
Yeah, it's like going to a
hilarious fucking prank.
Yeah, it's like going to a fucking. I was gonna say, what's a band that opened for fucking Motley Crue or something, but or it's like going to
all big bands, though. You can't.
It's like going to a Warrant concert and then afterwards being like, "Who's Warrant? I've never heard of them." It's like you went to their concert, you gave them money, you bought their albums. You
bought their ticket, you bought their albums, you listened to them.
But
on the
radio. It also proves what we had said and what we had actually been told by again people who have been within Comicsgate, who've been completely seeing behind the scenes and behind the curtain, the gay curtain,
behind the music.
Yes. Is that there's
behind
a
the
giant
music,
amount
Milli
of
Vanilli. You know what's a better
comparison
to Comicsgate is Milli Vanilli.
Yes, actually, yeah, that's that's like going like having all of Milli Vanilli's albums going to their concerts, and then after they get caught lip syncing, you pretend, who's Milli Vanilli? I've never even heard of them.
It's like owning a Milli Vanilli bootleg.
Yeah, I got their bootleg, their live shows on
bootlegs. I got bootleg of one of their live shows.
I've never heard of them.
It's totally authentic.
Yeah, and that's the thing. All of these things are coming out, and they will keep coming. It's me and you have been saying for a while now is that things are going to get worse, and they're going to keep getting worse, and we're seeing that now play out in action. And I have to say, I do want to give credit though to people who are actually doing the work and the digging. The thing is, I always the
three of you who are.
I thought Kiwi Farms was supposed to dig, and they haven't been for the most part. Most of the time in Kiwi Farms, it's just a bunch of people bickering and whining and fucking gay theory craft about shit that they are completely, utterly in the dark about.
Typical forum shit, but there's also a lot of people there who are just basically part of the fraud part of the grift.
Yeah, well, there's some puppet accounts there that are there to do damage control for Ethan and Comicsgate. But this is a good example of people actually doing the digging. So that's why I like, and I still haven't even started on the post, but there's a good, like the second sentence here mentions Mr. and Mrs. Biggins during the fundraising campaign for Richard C. Meyer. So right off the bat with Richard, he's being funded by these rich phonies, you know.
I don't believe that's their real name, by the way. But if it is, they probably changed it. I guess they changed it.
Who
to that? Biggins?
No, their real names are posted in this post.
Okay,
and like I said, I am not for 1 second going to give out their names, because if you really care that much, that's what Kiwi Farms is for. That's not what we're here, because this post verifies what we had been saying all along about the funding of Comicsgate, and that this just shows further, yet again, like other people who, other, you know, pros and creators who have been behind the scenes say that we were right all along. So yeah, Richard C. Meyer's crowdfund, which attracted the attention of Renfamous, which I guess I could fucking actually put this on the screen. Ron Mars, a blue just a total blue check mark. But look at how they're fucking
blue checky wecky.
There's Ron Mars says, so if I'm reading this correctly, 35K withdrawn about an hour ago. Donation of 10,000 was made by Mr. Biggins. Prior to that, $1,000 from Just a Girl. Yes, odd. And then Renfamous is like, Mrs. Biggins' account gave Meyer 10K, has been involved with Comicsgate on Twitter in the past and all this shit. And it kind of comes off looking like obsessive and petty and bitchy, like, look at how they're giving money to this guy. And the thing is that also missing the point, you know, the CEO's missing the point that you know, Comicsgate is like, look, they're defending themselves legally. As it turned out, though, that that entire case of Meyer versus Wade was a complete, just a fugazi. It's pixie dust. You know, it's not even real. Because he sued Wade over supposedly Wade. And again, people who know behind the scenes, it's unfortunate, because I would like to see Mark Wade lose the case. The thing is that in order for Mark Wade to lose the case at all,
corner back then. We were not fucking against Richard back then.
No.
I heard about the case and it's like, I hope he wins.
Yeah, even now, like, I would be like, well, I would hope he, well, actually, to be honest, it's such a stupid fucking
not
case.
Anymore.
I don't really give a shit.
No, I don't hope he wins.
I mean,
anymore.
If there was some way for both of them,
I don't really care.
Both of them are driving to the courthouse on the final day, and then they just fucking, like a garbage truck just slams through both of their cars, and they fucking...
Both of them at the same time, simultaneously. Is there some way they can both lose?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm asking.
And most people don't know.
Most
people don't know why about Richard, though. The thing is that whatever you think about Richard, you're wrong. You don't actually know. You think you know, but you got no idea, man.
He's just like fucking Snoop Dogg on his tour bus.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, the thing about there's stuff about Richard which people are completely in the dark about. And again, it's just like this. You know, nobody did
standard operating procedure for fucking Comicsgate and all their sycophants.
But people also didn't do any of the quantifying either. That's a lot. There's a lot of that going on where people are just completely, you know, letting that pass them by. So a lot of, when it comes to Richard, people don't know why. You know, why, you know, it's like, why would you even be against Richard? He's totally cool. He's innocent. He didn't do anything wrong. You don't know anything about Richard then. But
that's like, again,
that's
standard operating procedure
aside from the
for all Comicsgate again.
Anyways, the thing is that the thing about the case with Richard is that he is going to lose, because the case is that, well, actually, here's one thing. Here's one thing that nobody else admits or fucking even thinks about, is that Richard, in the lawsuit, claims that because of Mark Wade, he couldn't work with American artists. And if you think about that for 1 second, Richard's going to lose the lawsuit just because of that alone, but there are actually other even bigger reasons why Richard's going to lose the lawsuit too. And nobody even admits to that. Nobody talks about that, except us, of course. But should that even be a surprise anymore? But yeah, Richard made a bunch of false claims in his lawsuit that are easily debunked and will be ripped apart, or already have been ripped apart by the lawyers. And Richard is going to lose big. And because,
also,
first of all, saying that in your lawsuit is so insanely fucking retarded that you deserve to lose the lawsuit just for that.
He said he was going to sue us because we criticized.
Yes, that's actually another thing that people forget all the time, and that we had video proof on our channel, our fucking shitty webcomics YouTube channel, featured proof of Richard C. Meyer threatening to sue us. And not as a joke, not as like some kind of internet meme. The roasting or bants. He was not only serious, he was actually angry.
He was clearly angry. In fact, he sounded like he was on the verge of tears.
Yes. Because that's the thing, is that a lot of these people are just they're comic book nerds. They're faggots by nature. Why would anyone who would even take that side is just, they got the big gay. There's no way around it. The big gay.
They can't get married. They're faggots.
Fucking the two mommy eggs can't raise an egg. Or two mommies can't raise an egg. Well, whatever. Anyways, the real reason, though, why Richard's going to lose that lawsuit is not just the stupid shit he says in the fucking lawsuit that's objectively wrong and will easily, and either will be or has already been just torn apart by the other side's lawyers. Even an incompetent lawyer could win against Richard in that case. But the main claim of the lawsuit is that Mark Waid got Antarctic to drop Richard's comic, and that's not actually true. In fact, even if it was true, Antarctic could just say, no, it's not. And that would be the end. The thing is that what happened in real life is that the Antarctic guys were like, you know what, we're not interested in this comic. And so they just chose not to publish it of their own volition, which, again, maybe they could be lying about that, but the thing is that the people behind the scenes know what happened with that. And that is just that Antarctic didn't want to publish his comic. First of all, because his comic is fucking terrible. Not on a fucking, like, this is my opinion, or I read the comic and I think this, or it's like, here's what my assessment of his comic is. It's completely objective that Richard C. Meyer, Jawbreakers Lost Souls, was a objectively bad comic book, a bad story that was not told with any fucking wit or, talent, or even writing experience or ability. No editing.
His own fans had a real struggle trying to promote it. And in general, after it came out, nobody talked about it.
A struggle or to this day, there has not been a single review of Jawbreakers Lost Souls except for ours. There have been a couple people pretending that they can review, but all they did was say that, Jawbreakers Lost Souls, it's dope. It triggers the SJWs. That's not a review. You're not capable. If you even say that once, you're not actually capable of reviewing anything. You're just, as proven by other people said, nerds are only capable of complaint and not critique, which means they can't even explain why something's good. They can only say, it's really good, even if it's not good. It's like the people who came away from the Matrix sequel saying, the Matrix sequel is mind-blowing. It's like, no, they were bad movies. You're just not smart enough to fucking comprehend it.
Even then, comic book nerds compared to regular nerds, it's like,
they're the bottom rung of nerds are comic book nerds. They're the bottom, there's an Elton Club nerds. Exists for a reason.
It's not me defending nerds either.
No, a lot of nerds deserve rape. They deserve to be bullied.
Normally, I wouldn't attack nerds just out of nowhere. I got to have a reason. But comic book fans are so repugnant.
Well, you can always find a reason, but it's so reliable that you might as well just say, just attack on sight. Just fucking, and watch them get mad and fucking provide the validation for you. So that's all you need. I mean, it's one of the core tenets of trolling is that it reveals the truth about other people that they didn't want revealed. And we know that better than everyone combined. We know that literally, fucking. I'm not joking or exaggerating here. We know that better than every single person who has ever been to Kiwi Farms combined. Which does make us superior genetically, perhaps, but
genetically,
sometimes not even genetically.
intellectually,
Sometimes just naturally,
physically.
physically. Here's another after the Renfamous and they're fucking on one hand I thought it was like really gay. It's like Ron Mars and Renfamous being like
Pretty gay.
These people donate a bit, like that's gay. But then it actually is still kind of interesting that they're finding these weird suspicious people. They're finding actual suspicious behavior, which means Comicsgate gave a win to the SJWs. Why do they do that? We've never done that for years. We've been going for years and years before Comicsgate ever existed, and we've never done that. Comicsgate shows up and immediately does that. Why do they do that?
Why is Comicsgate posting their L's?
Yeah, why are they making L's? They're just creating them,
having them at all, let alone then posting them for other people to see, and then being like, "Yeah, we did this."
The fucking Comicsgate just pelting the Jews with their L's. Like, look at all this time we've been fucking either artificial or faggots or something.
Or faggots,
and
like
even
you.
the SJWs.
They're going up to them, pointing at themselves and saying, "I'm the easily triggered SJW now."
The thing is that the Jews are so fucking stupid and incompetent that even they aren't good at fucking outing this or exploiting the information that they're willingly handed. They're so dumb.
It's many perfect opportunities to fucking strike the killing blow against this, and they just don't. And they want to, but they're too stupid. It's the stupid versus the stupid, while we stand back here and laugh. But
it's
I would
faggot
also
versus
like
faggot
a career.
while we're busy doing more important shit.
We're trying to actually make real comics, and I'm wondering maybe if it's not the truth that we are secretly...
Well, not trying to at this point. We actually
the
have.
Ultimate part of the joke.
That's fucking worth fucking remembering. We actually have made comics that get onto store shelves now, and that's true. Thanks to some actual cool friends like Tim and Mark specifically.
Some of the actual cool, but also ourselves. We deserve some of the credit too.
But also, our artists too. And I want to mention that we have so many comic ideas that we are always looking for more artists too, for the many, many, many finished comic scripts that we've had. But it's hard out here for a truth teller, because when you're telling the truth, it's something that Doug TeNaples said about us, is that when you tell the truth, it really limits your scale, is that it kind of chases people off, is that you'll always stay small. The more you tell the truth, you sort of shrink your audience, because you run people off, because Doug didn't say this, but people really don't want to know the truth for the most part. So they run off.
They're afraid of the truth.
A lot of them will slink back, like Mike S. Miller and John Malin in particular would slink back and actually subscribe to our channel quietly after a while, because they want to know what we're saying too.
And they would fucking unsubscribe again.
Yes,
and then they resubscribe later.
Yeah, when we used to joke subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, but then they actually started doing it. Those people started doing it themselves. Even they're part of a deplatforming, doxing, not just the movement, but an ideology. So even if they leave the movement, they're still part of the the compulsive, like Mike S. Miller openly just lied about other creators for no reason. He lied about the Nurkish thing, and I directly confronted him about it, and he ran off. And then that was before all of a sudden Mike S. Miller got attacked by Comicsgate. So, while he was still part of Comicsgate, he was doing their lying for them. Then they attack him, and he acts like all of a sudden he became honest. He's really not. And anyone who actually has any premium on honesty knows that and knows not to ever trust any person who fucking only becomes honest just because they got attacked by their own side, supposedly.
Yeah, opportunists, in other words.
Yeah,
pathetic opportunists.
Also, there's something. It's something. It looks like Jerk says in the chat. I don't know if that's Jerk Douglas, but Jerk says the Sejus already won, so there's no need. Which is true in comics. The Sejus took over the industry, and you can say that they're driving it into the toilet. But the thing is, they're still making comics, and they're still shipping more than
they are driving it into the toilet. But they still have a business. They still manage to fucking run a business, which is more than you can say for Comicsgate.
And also, yeah, Comicsgate is like a shill business. It's like a fucking empty shill business where they say they're doing business, but then no product comes out. 90% of the fucking creators either got kicked out of the movement or fucking have canceled their books or still haven't come out with their books and show no signs of finishing them anytime soon, including Ethan, very interestingly.
Yeah, their leader, their own self-proclaimed leader, and Caesar.
Yeah, who they called Caesar, which is very interesting.
They call him
very
Caesar,
suspicious.
which is it's very heterosexual.
Oh yeah, Kaiser Crimson actually mentions telling the truth just gets you labeled things like pessimistic or nitpicking, since you inevitably notice too many inconsistencies. That's not only true, but they also call you like petty for like. I mean, if you go over bad art and redline it, people in Comicsgate, if it's Comicsgate art, people in Comicsgate would be like, it's really petty to go do that. And it's like, no, it's called art really criticism. You wouldn't know what that is because you're not really
petty
into
to have
art.
Standards for your art.
You don't really know what comic art is for.
Especially their comic art. Comicsgate's comics art. Their standards for art are terrible. They're low.
Also, one of the things that was actually shown, like on an objective level, like art critics, people who understand comic art and composition and anatomy, have gone over Ethan Van Sciver's art, and even recent art, and said, "Yeah, this is bad. This is incompetent. This is fucking incorrect. This is a giant anatomy flaw right here." Like just pointing to stuff that you can recreate as incorrect. It's like
we were noticing some of that
recreatable.
We saw some of the early fucking finished work of fucking Cyberfrog, and it's like, wow, this is ugly. What the fuck is this?
Or it's worse than that. A lot of the compositions are incoherent as fucking a comic page. It looks like he just tries to draw a bunch of covers and pinups and then does them in like a sequence of panels, but they're like so messy and way too busy that it's hard to even fucking see. And that's why even his own fans said, yeah, there's not really any story going on. And it's like the art looks pretty, but it's in service of nothing, basically. So again, that's not our opinion. That's his own fans' opinion.
It doesn't look pretty either, though. Just so there's no confusion. It doesn't look pretty either. It's the fucking colorist who's coming through.
Yeah, the colorist is doing the heavy lifting.
And just like with the Rob Liefeld.
The fucking colorist the colorist had a bunch of dirt on him that I think Liam threatened to come out with, like, oh, I'm gonna fucking reveal this stuff about how Kyle did some stuff, and it's just like another big nothing burger, which shows that Liam probably knows worse stuff about Comicsgate from behind the scenes, but he's not even smart enough to know what it is. Like he fucking has seen stuff that he isn't even smart enough to admit to be like, oh, I'm gonna dump everything I know on Comicsgate, and then it's like
he thinks the incriminating
he has actually
stuff.
seen the commission of like harassing customers and gay ops and that kind of stuff, and he doesn't he's not smart enough to
even realize
any of that.
He thinks the actually incriminating shit is nothing, and the non-incriminating shit is so serious that he's going to get the legal system involved.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, he has it completely backwards, but it goes to show why he was so involved in Comicsgate, because it's not just the movement, but the person. A comic book fan inherently is a corrupt, immoral person on a possibly a genetic level.
One of the few,
but that would imply that they can't help it, and so I'm not gonna fucking give them that out.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. That's I never consider that to be an excuse.
Anyways, we've been, as we usually do, we are always providing context, something that nobody else ever does. We've been providing a lot of context, but neglecting the thread. It's really a shame. So here, I'll just look again. Apparently, the in quotes just a girl, aka Mrs. Biggins, donated $1,000 after Mr. Biggins donated $10,001 to Zach's GoFundMe. Again, his name isn't Zach, so it's kind of gay, but it's like
Gay.
calling Ethan Frog. It's like, hey, we're all on the same
or
side
Caesar.
here.
It's like calling Ethan Caesar.
Yeah, exactly. His name is Richard. Just let him be Richard. Just accept it. But anyways,
his name is not Zach. It'll never be Zach.
It's never gonna be Zach. Anyways, shortly after, just a girl at Merce Troy Biggins apparently appeared on Twitter and famously tweeted that Scott Snyder would be the next one to denounce CG, which he did shortly after. She gained some popularity by tweeting herself holding original art and tagging mainstream creators with suggestive pictures. Here's some nice shorts. Her tits fucking jutted out. While being praised by another account called Slayer of Ugly, which I think the implication is that they found that to be a sock puppet account from herself.
It certainly sounds like a fucking shitty sock puppet account.
It sounds like a really lazy, fucking obviously dumb sock puppet account.
You didn't even try to come up with a name for this sock.
Anyway, and Slayer of Ugly is spelled Slaer.
Troll. It's like troll slayers. We're fucking troll slayers, not superheroes. So take that gay shit off.
Yes, Slaer of Ugly account seems to praise both Mr. and Mrs. Biggins quite often, taking up most of the mentions when you search Biggins in Twitter search, which, again, this is all they're really doing on the Kiwi Farms here, is just doing some digging by searching for names. That's it. That's all it is.
Doing their facts, eh?
They're doing their facts, eh? Including gloating over Biggins's smackdown of well-read user and the subsequent taking of his wrench while on a Liam Gray livestream. So they were taking Liam Gray's side. Interesting. These rich people, rich phonies, were taking Liam Gray's side too. Isn't that interesting? Isn't it interesting how so many people in Comicsgate were supporting Liam Gray openly, publicly, and monetarily until all of a sudden we fucking got Liam Gray to snap and revealed him to be a psycho who false flags people. Then all of a sudden, that behavior that had never changed, all of a sudden Comicsgate decided they were against it. Isn't that interesting? Does anyone else notice something? You ever just notice something?
I sure like to notice things.
Anyway, so yeah, as previously summarized in a write-up by Mr. Dongs here, and it's it's a link to a post from like page 824 while we're on page 1201 right now, so it was a while ago. And then here's screen caps and archive links. It's always good to archive link. This is what, in fact, here, let me just fucking show this here. Here this mentions some of the. In fact, here there's the pictures of the chick here, which don't show her face. She hid her face, but she's also like showing some stuff or something. It's like, nice scams. But then again, when you're the wife of a plastic surgeon in Texas, there's kind of no excuse to not be, at least to be mildly presentable, I guess.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah. So. Here's some screen caps of tweets by the person, and then archive links. And so, if just a hint to everyone else, anyone else, this is the way to do it. Is you're going to take screen caps of stuff that backs up what you say, but you also have to archive link it every time. You got to do both at the same time, which is why it's work, but it's not really hard work. It's easy to just find an archive.
Once you know ahead of time to do it, it becomes easier to do it, each time after work.
It's sort of like second nature. But the thing is, it's something it was learned in the Gamergate days. So if you're not doing it, it's like you're not down with the fucking OG Gamergate
I'm personally not going to ask people to fucking go to archive.is or any shit like that.
Well, this one in particular is archive.vn, which I think is maybe one that works better, because I think last time I used archive.is, it like wouldn't even load.
Mm-hmm. That's probably why.
But yeah, if you're going to do anything, if you're going to be like, oh, I looked up this and I found it, you better fucking archive link it first. And if you're not doing that, then you're kind of just wasting everyone's time. Anyways, spoilers of Biggins' mentions of himself, and it's a lot more replying to like Donald DeLay, like, you know, on Donald DeLay's side, agreeing with him, blah, 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 this and that. And it's just tweet screen caps with the archive links. These ones are archive.md. Well then. Anyways. And again, if you want to fucking see this, you can go to the Kiwi Farms thread yourself, because I don't want to out the really private information, but I also really don't have much problem with somebody who basically helped perpetuate fraud and attacking of customers being outed in public as they really deserve.
I much more heavily oppose attacking customers, engaging in fraud, you know, just especially supporting other people who also engage in fraud.
Than Comicsgate.
It's like conspiracy to commit fraud.
Yeah, both of us are
actually that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it actually is. It's not just fraud, but there's like open conspiring, because you can, like, the paper, that's what this post is, and that's why we want to do a video about this, is because this is directly laying out the paper trail of committing fraud, commission to commit fraud, and conspiracy to commit fraud, all at the same time. Now, I don't know if those things are crimes. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not even an internet lawyer who pretends to be a lawyer, who's never really practiced law or anything.
I'm not even a chronic alcoholic who has never practiced a single case, and is most especially never won a case.
Yeah, I'm not a trust fund baby who's incredibly thin-skinned and can't be, he can't take being made fun of even a little bit, and gets angry on Ethan Van Sciver's behalf, and then ghosts his own friends that he's known since before YouTube over Ethan Van Sciver being made fun of. I would never do that, but I guess other people do that, and I guess other people like that sort of behavior. I don't know why people like that in a person. Personally, I just don't. I guess it's just me. I guess I just have a higher standard for honesty. But me and my brother are more against attacking customers than Comicsgate. And again, that's not my opinion. That's now objectively proven.
We had to do nothing to do that too.
Yeah,
we just sat there while they attacked their own customers.
It costs
nothing.
They attacked
their own customers. Then I noticed it.
It's sort of like it costs nothing to say the N-word. It's like, it's not about money.
Except that you don't understand how difficult it is not saying the
N-word. Sending a message. Oh wait, no, 2 terrible impersonations in a row. Anyways,
wonderful things.
Yeah, since we notice Just a Girl's is Mrs. Troy Biggins, searching the name Troy in Slayer of Uglies mentions reveals his name from Austin, and some users claiming he's a plastic surgeon. Now this backs up what we were directly trolled, which Tails got, by the way.
Total.
But we were, behind the scenes. People have been seeing behind the scenes for a long time, and since the very beginning of Comicsgate, let us know that there's a rich plastic surgeon who has been basically artificially inflating most of Comicsgate's campaigns, especially Ethan, because this guy is a giant simp for Ethan Van Sciver. I almost forgot.
Which makes him a retard. Just a straight up retard.
Well, yeah, that's even something they were mentioning in the Kiwi Farms thread here, is that the guy's he's a pay-pig simp and a retard. The thing is, he's not just a pay-pig, he's not just the biggest pay-pig, but he's the fucking, he's bigger than just a pay-pig. He's the fucking, he's single-handedly responsible for creating the false image of success in Comicsgate's comic book campaigns.
Like, this is something you would not want, even if you're a fucking pay pig yourself.
Yeah, like
You
even
don't
if
want
somebody was
to
on my
artificially
side, I would
inflate
be like, "Hey, don't
the
donate
value of
$10,000
something
to me."
that will shit the bed very soon.
Yeah, I would be like, don't donate $10,000 to me just to make it look like I'm not flagging in success. If you're gonna donate money to me, buy my comic or something. If you're like, yeah, I have a bunch of money, I'll give you. It's like, well, I'll try and make an expensive tier, I guess. I don't fucking know, a reward. I don't know, but this guy just threw money at people to help, throw off the fact of what people were noticing is that Comicsgate was noticeably, measurably shrinking and falling apart, not just from attacking their own customers and their own creators on their own side, but from just general support, people growing bored of comics that were really not interesting,
And I will
not original,
freely
not
admit,
creative, or not worthwhile.
the only reason I can even imagine doing that is because there's such a comic book cape fag.
Well, no, this
Those
guy has
people are
something else wrong
pathetic.
with it. This guy, something that this thread didn't really, most people can't dig into, and that we even don't really know, is that this guy is kind of an actual, like, fucking legitimate psychopath behind the scenes. That he's really fucking crazy. But
But I mean, this would also mean that he's stupid.
yeah.
Like, most psychopaths are actually
Well,
intelligent, and if he's a
it's
surgeon, I'd have to assume he has some kind of skill. But if he's into comic books, he must be a retard.
yeah. There's got to be something wrong, but it's also very well known that to be successful in any way these days, you don't even have to be that smart. A lot of really dumb people can just fall right into success. Sometimes it's about who you know, of course, who you know and who you blow, but also sometimes it's about pandering to other stupid people. It's what we officially dubbed the questionable content effect. And we've explained what that is like hundreds of times. But if you missed out on that, well, you're just you're one of the nobodies who doesn't know what's actually going on behind the scenes at Comicsgate. We do. We've been behind the scenes with Comicsgate, and personally know lots and lots of people who have been behind the scenes of Comicsgate who know where they know where the berries are bodied, so to speak. But and those people came to us and told us about a lot of the stuff going on, and this was one of the stories. But again, the thing is that they just told us, like, there's this rich plastic surgeon in Texas who artificially funds a lot of Comicsgate comics, and that money doesn't go towards anything. It just goes towards creating the effect.
Certainly doesn't go towards anything, because even though he's supposedly funding comic books that are going to get made, we already know what happens to those comic books.
Anyways, from his tweets, we can see Slayer of Ugly knows a lot about plastic surgery, almost like he is a plastic surgeon. I guess in a way, Slayer of Ugly is sort of like, I'm getting rid of ugliness by fucking doing plastic surgery. So it's like a reference.
Which it doesn't work, by the way.
Really dumb, really gay.
It's a terrible fucking idea. Anyone who knows anything knows you fucking start to layer on the plastic surgery, you become basically it's called
horrific nightmare creature.
It's the fucking chasm or whatever it is.
Like, you mean the uncanny valley?
Uncanny valley.
Yeah. Yeah, you start to look like something that's not human, but made to look human, and so, like, in the weird closeness that you could tell it's fake, and just looks awkward and awful and creepy. In the thread, it mentions Slayer of Ugly also likes to laugh with a jaw, 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 curiously similar to the way Mr. Biggins also types his laughter, and there's screenshots of comparisons with archive links too, and a bunch more archive links as well.
Are they also fucking, they might be fucking Brazilian or some shit?
No, I think they're just doing that ironically, because when you see the pictures of them, they don't look like... But you know what? I don't know. And
or
whatever.
Maybe just Mexican. I don't know. I don't care.
But no, actually, no. Anyways, Mr. Biggins, much like Slayer of Ugly, appears to have a hate boner for Mike S. Miller and shows off his dog tags, similar to how Mr. Biggins claims he keeps his dog tags around as a reminder of Mike's betrayal. I think they're the dog tags that were like some kind of really cringe reward for one of Mike's comics. It's like you get dog tags because you're like
Just
part of
total stolen.
you're
You
part
get
of the
to be
Comic Skate
stolen.
Army.
You totally stolen valor.
Yeah.
You could totally be stolen valor.
Yeah,
with
it's
Mike
weird how
fucking-
much stolen valor is within Comicsgate as far as
Well, it's not weird. They're stupid and they're also frauds.
yeah. But it's
so
like
it's not that weird.
Well, for example,
It's
Mike S.
just-
Miller, there's a lot of like military worship, which, you know, it's like I don't fucking really like I'm not bothered by the military. I'm not
going to be
anti-troop or whatever. But the thing is
I
that
don't begrudge anyone for that. No.
like you can't just go around saying that every single military soldier veteran is a good person because it's like what about who was the guy who
The guy from Born on the 4th of July.
the fucking guy from Owen Benjamin. It was like that black dude.
It was
Eric
like
Nimmer.
his friend.
Eric Nimmer was a guy who was like
yeah.
I think he was in the Marines, but he went around saying he did like 4 tours and he's got all these medals
Yeah,
and
he's
stuff.
got fucking. I got 200 confirmed. He's a fucking
He has over
Navy
300 confirmed kills.
He's a Navy SEAL.
But there's a lot of that gay kind of cringe like worship in a lot of these like apparently Republican.
Well, it's also that's one of the other things they also told us is he donates to charities. That's me. It means he's automatically a good person.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't.
somebody actually got mad at us about that. I don't even remember who it was.
Which is a good example of how they're stupid too.
Yeah,
It's good. It's nice radar.
but also
Nice
their
radar ping.
standards for principle are like the most shallow, like fucking artificial. Like you could, it's an open announcement that you're fucking available to be grifted from, and that you know you're like, hey, I'm so fucking gullible. I will let anyone get away with anything, and I'll continue to believe it and shill it. And then if you even question it for 1 second, I will throw all of my ego into defending something that likely is completely false and something that no one would even know is false or not, or you know that I wouldn't know is false or not because you know I wouldn't look into it because it's a fucking an open desire to show that they don't want to notice anything. But yeah, there's a lot of this, dog tags. You get dog tags because it's like you're part of the military because we're all pro-troop. And like people getting tattoos of dog tags, but they've never served. And they want to just sort of falsely pretend they have some sort of,
Again,
we're
if
fighting
you're-
the culture war, though.
If you're pro-military or pro-American military or pro-military intervention or whatever the fuck, the one thing you don't do is try to pretend or show that you have served in any way.
In
You don't do
way,
that.
even like as a joke or as like a fucking goofy fucking tongue-in-cheek way. It's like you just shouldn't because it's fucking cringades. And that's not in my opinion either. One thing Tony just mentions in the chat, one thing that's sure to get people really pissed at you is when you start asking questions. We're just asking questions after all. Slayer
Or
of
just
Ugly.
noticing. For me, it's noticing. I don't even ask the question until I notice the wrongdoing. I see the wrongdoing, and then I ask the question.
I see the awful, terrible things in my life, and I turn it into comedy.
I see the awful, terrible things in Comicsgate,
Yes.
and
I
it's
turn it
already
into-
comedy.
It's already comedy.
It starts as comedy.
Is that sealing cork? Anyways, Slayer of Ugly, back to the thread. Slayer of Ugly appears to hate Miller for being blocked after he forced Mike to defend Mark Wade and trolling Mike in epic long exchanges on Twitter. And there's screen caps here and archive links. And again, if you want to check that out, that's in the thread.
Is there some way I can hate everybody?
You know, I believe you can. But anyways, yeah, actually here, dog tags, let me show this. Dog tags that say Lone Star Squadron 1st Brigade.
Lone Star.
Faggot. How much
Fucking douchebag.
gayer. Fuck, especially from somebody who is so dishonest that, like, when presented with just straight up objective facts that he knew about, fucking Mike S. Miller just straight up lied and took Ethan Van Sciver's side, and then like months later, Ethan Van Sciver attacked him. It's kind of funny, but it's also like better than he deserves, even.
It's just, how stupid do you have to be to fall for that?
Apparently, as stupid as Mike S. Miller, and that's not my opinion either.
It's not my opinion. It's not my opinion. I can't be wrong.
Yes. Here is, yeah, because, I mean, that's the thing. We're not saying what our opinion is. If I was going to say what my opinion is, I would fucking tell you it's my opinion. So far, we haven't done that yet.
A lot of people need to know what an opinion actually is.
Just like science speakers, I fucking love the science. Anyways,
I love the science.
Here's a video clip also, and of something, I don't know what it is, but again, if you want to go to the thread and check out all this stuff, that do the derp dive for yourself, which is quite fun and delightful, I suppose. As previously seen, we know Mr. Biggins was a massive War Campaign defender. War Campaign was the doxing ring, which, again, people in War Campaign came out and admitted that Ethan Van Sciver paid them.
It's like coming out and straight up just saying, I wish the Holocaust happened.
Yeah.
If you're fucking part of War Campaign, you have no defense.
Yeah.
It's just straight up a piece of
it's just
shit.
like they have admitted. The thing is, though, that like former War Campaign people came out. Like they said, I quit War Campaign because they started to attack other customers, and it's like, but they've been doing that before then.
That was their fucking entire goal from the start.
Yeah, they didn't. That's one thing that, in case you don't know about War Campaign didn't do anything but attack, like argue over the internet and back themselves up with sock puppet accounts. That's it. That's what War Campaign was about.
Not just arguing over the internet. They would find people who didn't want to be part of Comicsgate, and they would fucking specifically go after them, attack them, fucking try to run them off the internet or out of the fucking movement. And there were people who were like, you know what, this is too much trouble. I'm not getting involved in this Comicsgate thing anymore. You have War Campaign.
That's the thing, though. That's the real crime of it, is some actual interesting, funny people were like, you know what, this isn't even worth putting up with, and they just deleted their Twitters. Like fucking Nurkish just deleted his Twitter. Nurkish is a million times funnier than everyone in War Campaign could ever be combined, even. And thing is that they all attacked Nurkish specifically because Ethan Van Sciver not only told them to, but paid them. And that's, again, that's not speculation or anything. There are actual streams where Ethan Van Sciver donated money to War Campaign live on stream.
This is not something that I know people out there are sitting there right now being like, where's your evidence? We've already showed it on previous shows. This is
the evidence. You want is their shows. That's another thing that they're missing. That Comicsgate goes into pathetic denial about because they're fucking faggots. Is that the evidence is Ethan Van Sciver and War Campaign. That proved it. That is the evidence. There's no denying that. That was out in public.
It wasn't us digging. It wasn't us making claims. It wasn't us finding receipts. They fucking did this on their own shows, and then we said
they did it in
these
public.
guys are doing this on their own shows.
They did it in public, and all we did was notice it and say it. And the thing is, they didn't deny it. Like Ethan Van Sciver never denied funding War Campaign to dox and gay ops. All he does is say, I don't do gay ops, which is other people in War Campaign came out and said, no, Ethan's lying about that. Now, who are you going to believe? A guy who has been caught lying, or his fucking brigade that he paid off, who quit? Some of them quit out of protest. Some of them just turned on each other, all that kind of stuff, which, again, we said was going to happen.
One way or the other. And that tends to be the results of corruption. It's standard operating procedure when you're corrupt.
Corruption as a person, not just as a movement, but individually as people, and then also collectively as a group and as a movement and as a people in general. Both of those things combined. So yeah, that's the thing, is that the evidence has already been public and shown. People just bury their heads in the Comicsgate as a people collectively and individually buried their heads in the sand about it. Anyways, here, as previously seen, we know Mr. Biggins was a more massive war campaign defender and advocate. Usually that means you are actually part of war campaign. A lot of people in war campaign are like,
You're
oh,
not
you had to
just
be
an
vetted and you
advocate.
had to be approved and stuff. But the fact is that, like,
It's a
even
doxing
Tug's
ring.
wife was fucking part of war campaign, and War Campaign had a lot of there's a lot of YouTubers who are very popular who have very suspicious connections to War Campaign, which means that they have connections. Like what I was told, and I don't know this for myself, is that even Nick Rekieta had War Campaign people as mods, which in his chat, which means Nick Rekieta is directly involved in a doxing and gay ops ring. Um, but
And you can excuse it by saying he's too stupid. He was fooled. He was gullible.
but
Fucking
here's the thing.
idiot.
Here's the thing is that what I also was told by those people who said that is that Nick knew. That Nick knew they were involved in doxing and gay ops and, attacking customers. In fact, people went to Nick telling him. But, I'm not going to get into that right now because this thread's about this. But people went to Nick behind the scenes telling him, hey, what's this about? And Nick just ghosts them. Which is very suspicious because he would ghost them. Those were his friends that he would just cut off contact with and never talk to ever again. Those were his own friends that he did that with. But meanwhile, I sent him like a fucking like a goof that I was going to do a video about him and Tug, and all of a sudden he has a meltdown and actually does a stream about it. Strange that he ignores his friends but gives attention to me. Why would Nick do that? I just think that's kind of strange. But that's just me noticing things that other people just don't seem to dig into or think
Once
about.
again, noticing.
I guess it's just sometimes it's nice to notice things. For us, one thing that me and my brother both want to get across is that what all the rest of you are completely blissfully unaware of is that it's kind of neat. It's neat to notice things sometimes. And so I guess if you want to live vicariously through us through that, that's cool. But for any of you who don't know, noticing things is kind of fun, kind of interesting, insightful, fun, and happy sometimes.
It's totally fucking cool.
And we're saying that because none of you really know. I would say, hey, you should know.
Clearly, they don't already know.
Yeah, they obviously. Let me put this here. Okay, there. I just want to rearrange the fucking the chat window. How do I? Okay, whatever. Fucking OBS.
Whatever.
Fucking OBS is actually kind of nice. Anyways, it was OCD bothering me that the bottom of the chat window was touching or the top of the chat window was touching the bottom of the little Laylee icon at the top there.
Typical.
Anyways, so Mr. Biggins was a massive war campaign defender and advocate and was on the wrong side of the Comicsgate loyalist versus war campaign schism, which occurred previously this year.
You think?
And then previously offering Ro Mrs. Biggins as his queen. So that was something. I think there was something Dean mentioned earlier is that I think Mr. Biggins was going to cuck out his wife to Ro or something goofy like that. In the screen cap of Ro saying "Where my queen at" with a in the retard text, and then picture of Mrs. Biggins with that really dumb fucking Comicsgate logo. I don't even. Anyways, since War Campaign lost in that internal struggle, Mr. Biggins mysteriously disappeared, only suddenly returning with a $2,000 purchase of Anna, that Star Wars girl's original art. As Mr. Donks previously stated, it was almost like paying war reparations to Anna for backing the wrong horse in that struggle. Yeah, that was another thing, is that what War Campaign did was they started just attacking that Star Wars girl, basically for no reason, just because they could. But it was also what they were for. It was what they're called War Campaign. Fucking, it's like, and no one in Comicsgate ever for 1 second thought, why do you need a war campaign for? Not until we pointed it out, but even after we pointed it out, of course, is that
just asking the
Comicsgate
question.
doesn't need a war campaign because then you're not just making comics, and that reveals the lie of Comicsgate's false ideals to be, the false ideals that they are, that we've proven objectively that they are now. But yeah, so what happened was War Campaign started attacking Anna, which I didn't even really care about because like all these people are like this is the whole fandom menace, which is a bunch of like really mentally ill, fucking retarded, like actual psychopaths. Like there's some of the people in fandom menace who are like schizophrenic or who have have gone full Liam Gray. As much as people are like, oh, Liam Gray's really embarrassing, Fandom Menace has several Liam Grays, and so does Comicsgate. Comicsgate has many, many Liam Grays.
That is something also that I want to make sure we're getting across, because he did fucking false flag and falsely strike our channel. He is not special. There's nothing.
Well, he's not the first either.
It.
He's not the first people associated.
Yeah, nope.
He is not the first person. Liam Gray, and this is all the rest of you are legitimately retarded for not knowing this. But Liam Gray is not the first person associated with Comicsgate or anything around Comicsgate to false flag our channel. And if you don't know that, again, I guess you haven't seen behind the scenes, or you have absolutely zero capability for perception.
You're not part of the conversation. Don't pretend like you're part of the conversation if you don't already know this.
And that's
you're not part of the conversation. You're a follower. You're not a leader.
Yeah, you're a prole. You're one of the little bitches on the chessboard. That's you were born to be a pawn who will never become anything beyond that. And again, that's not our opinion. That's what you present yourself as a person. It was up to you to prove us wrong. And what you did was you proved us right thousands of times in a row. When you do that in the world of fucking loving science, that's called data. And we have that. We have the records mentally, but we have the control of that as well, and you have absolutely none of that. In Comicsgate, if you're in Comicsgate, you are completely out of the loop of everything happening, even within your own movement. You always have been, but more importantly, you always will be. You'll never, be clued into what's actually been happening. And the thing is, we were aware of what was actually happening just by seeing it, but what happened is because we had seen it and done videos about it, and we were the first people ever to point it out, people from behind the scenes of Comicsgate who had not from the movement necessarily, but people from the movement too, people who have been involved though in a lot of the stuff going on behind the scenes of Comicsgate came to us to not only confirm that we were right, but to tell us even more stuff. And again, like for the 10th time I'm mentioning this in the show, I know. But this is why we're doing this video about this specific person, is because this is one of the guys that we were told like over a year ago, I think. It was back in 2019 that this guy was basically artificially inflating and backing a lot of people in Comicsgate. Anyways, yeah, so as Mr. Dongs previously stated, Mr. Biggins basically paid Anna $2,000 for a doodle. Definitely way overpaying, because you could say that about it. Like fucking, I would not pay $2,000. Like if I had $2,000, if I could blow that, I wouldn't pay that like on a fucking artist I loved. Like if I was gonna get something from Krekov, if he was like, I'm charging $2,000 for a commission, I'd be like, oh, maybe someone else should get that there. Or I wouldn't pay him $2,000 if he'll take 500 or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the reason this show, my point is that Mr. Biggins paid $2,000 for this drawing. In fact, here, let me fucking, I don't even think this is bad. Like, I don't know if people are like, oh, this is bad, she's not good. She's all right. $2,000, no, but, she's a decent artist if she did this, which, I don't doubt it, actually. I always thought the character of Vampirella was boring, though, but it's like, whatever. So, and again, this is on an Ethan stream. There's his icon down there and all that stuff. Anyways,
an icon.
Also, can I just say, fucking being that obsessed with like Star Wars, where you got all the Star Wars merch behind you on video.
Again, that's his entire career. That's how he started his career.
That's not him. That's her. That's fucking Anna. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, whatever
the fuck ever. But yeah, $2,000 is clearly
started his career.
It's not. It's clearly not for that picture. even if it was colored and really huge and fucking elaborate and stuff, $2,000 is, as Mr. Dong stated, it was like paying war reparations to Anna for backing the wrong horse in that struggle, or conf, if you will. Mr. Biggins and Slayer of Ugly also share the same catchphrase, lift heavy, save your cash, and fuck every day. That definitely sounds like the fucking catchphrase of a fucking...
That's way too busy, by the way. That's a terrible catchphrase.
It's a catchphrase of a plastic surgeon who lives in Texas who wants to think like he's a fucking badass culture warrior.
He wants to pretend like he's...
The most... It's
he's
like
a
fucking
warrior
stolen
poet.
valor for being cool, if you will.
He's the fake... It's the fakest shit you've ever heard.
This is fucking... I don't think I noticed this the first time I went through the thread, but Smug Frieza's list, and it's fucking Smug Frieza and fucking... I forgot the names and shit, but from that scene where he has the gun to the old Jew's head in Schindler's List, the guy who was essential to the war effort, but the old Jew is War Campaign. That's pretty.
That's a great metaphor.
Is this different from the thing that looks like a revolver? But didn't he have a P-38 in the movie?
It's perfect symbolism.
I don't know. Whatever. Fucking
yes. Yeah.
Excuse me for
I don't know.
Which I did, but anyways. Now knowing what we do about Mr. and Mrs. Biggins, it was a simple matter to search for plastic surgeons with this name in the Austin, Texas area, bringing us to fucking the guy's actual name and wife's name and pictures of them, which again, it's not like this guy stole into their fucking house and took pictures out of their fucking sock drawer or whatever. It's just publicly posted stuff. It's all stuff that people intentionally choose to make. But I mean, if you're running a business, if you're a plastic surgeon, of course you're running a business, you have a public, life, and you got an office, and your office has a phone number and all that shit. So he posts all that shit. So here's the photos, name, social media, archives, phone numbers, email addresses, and that kind of stuff. Which again, if you make that stuff public, or if you could just search for a name and find it, it's really just, that's Google. That's not fucking Kiwi Farms doxing you. That's Google doxing you, which is one of the things people say about big tech being way too invasive. I mean, it's an old argument. That's fucking like 20, I think, wasn't it like after Louis C.K. fucking just got big, like he fucking just blew up, like, he was always a stand-up in the 90s and stuff, but after he really went bald and then had a big comeback in like the early to mid 2000s, I think he was on... it
was like 2008, 2006.
I think he was on Conan, because he used to be a Conan writer, but he went on Conan and he was talking about how, like, people will just post their fucking actual location of where they're standing in a fucking post. And it's like, why are you doing that? Why are you just giving people your fucking information like that? But anyways, his plastic surgeon website, archive link, other links. So in summary, we know that Mrs. Biggins is the wife, and we have a good comparative look at her figure. We know Slayer of Ugly shares Mr. Biggins' catchphrase, shares the ja ja ja, and praises the Biggins wherever possible. We know they share a hatred of Mike S. Miller. We know Slayer of Ugly is a plastic surgeon, blah blah. Similarly to these people, but this could be argued as a coincidence. However, here's the kill shot where he tweeted back with his original handle at blah blah, and him sharing his email, which they verified was tied together with the docs, basically. And that's actually really stupid. Here's a tweet of Slayer of Ugly just posting their fucking email address, which is connected to the plastic surgery guy's fucking identity, full identity and docs. As always, I thank my close colleague Smug Freezer for his assistance in this successful hunt. And so that is the post that digs up. Now the thing is that there's still not even that much digging about the backing and funding, although the beginning of it shows that there was funding for the Yakakazak's GoFundMe, but there's, behind the scenes, there is even more of that involved with the a lot of funding of other stuff in Comicsgate, which I don't know if you can dig and find that stuff. Maybe you can't. Maybe it's just stuff that people behind the scenes and from Comicsgate know about, but you can't fucking go find the specific evidence, or at least not with a name of the some of the sock puppet accounts, something like that. I don't really know, but whatever. Again, this is just stuff we hear about, and we're like, huh, that's interesting. But again, we're not really journalists. I leave it to the people who actually care about digging and finding the fucking information. All we do is just the casual noticing. And that, for some reason, that alone is fucking really, that scares some people.
If I was part of Comicsgate, if I was actually part of Comicsgate, I'd be the most fucking pissed off person on planet Earth. Look at what these people are doing to your movement, and nothing you can do will stop them. They'll just straight up railroad you.
You'll never be able to debunk any of this information because it's already it's too late. It's happened. It's not something that's a matter of Comicsgate even having the balls to admit to, which they don't. But it's a matter of something they can't stop from having already happened.
I think also a lot of those
or not
people
doesn't matter
are just
anymore.
Straight up easily cowed retards.
Yes.
I mean, why else would you be part of Comicsgate unless you weren't?
I mean, you were saying, like, if I was in Comicsgate, I would be mad. If I was in Comicsgate, I'd be gay. Yeah. What do you think about that? Anyways, basically,
there's no hope for Comicsgate except as a laughingstock at this point. They're a great source of comedy, unintentional comedy.
Which, again, most people are still completely unaware of. Most people still don't know that fucking Comicsgate is, like, the most embarrassing thing on the internet right now. Possibly in a long while of internet history, in fact. Because it's like, you could say, oh, Chris Chan, though, but Chris Chan's retarded. He can't help it. It's funny to laugh at this stuff,
straight up,
but he's
like,
retarded.
He mutilated himself.
Yes.
What excuse does Comicsgate have?
Yeah, exactly. Chris Chan's retarded. What's Comicsgate's excuse? Anyways, we'll just leave off on that question for the rest of you to ponder. We already know the answer, of course, but for the rest of you, you little people, you pawns, you proles, you inferior gay wads, or some of you cool people, which again, I'll give a lot of credit to Yusha Sama here and Smug Frieza for just looking at all, which is nice, I suppose. That is good, and make sure to now that we're officially back. I mean, people have been asking, are we back? And I'm thinking, yeah, we're black. No, shut up! I'm trying to rape.
I'm thinking I'm black.
Just shut up! Shut your black ass up! Why did you commit 50% of the crime? Actually, in this world, we're 98% of the population. Shut up, anyways.
Why does Comicsgate commit 100% of the graft?
Yes, fucking 100% of Comicsgate commits 100% of the fraud. That is not good. Fucking
despite being 0% of effective comic sales.
Anyway, it's almost been an hour 40, so I'll wrap up before this actually gets to an hour 40. Unlike, share, uncomment, resubscribe, resubscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Then unhit the bell. Then hit the bell. Go away, we're drunk now. Hideo Kojima is the David Cage of Japan. It's kind of sad. A lot of those videos are just stuck on fucking BitChute. I'm not going to remirror them. It's just like there's 20 parts of why Metal Gear Solid sucks. I'm not reposting that shit. YouTube should just give us our account back, but I'm sure they won't.
They are brilliant.
I mean, YouTube might ban this account too, so, again, our BitChute account, which is pretty much untouchable, I guess, but not a great site, but our BitChute account, we're still mirroring to that, so, just in case. But also to really keep up with this, you're basically the only way you can really do it is to donate at least $1 to our Patreon. So go to patreon.com/smuglally. It's below in the it's linked below. There's a button below on DLive, which is actually, it's nice and shiny. It's a nice shiny button. Anyways, so we'll see you next time. Maybe actually, yeah, we're doing a stream like next week, so we'll see you then. Fuck off. Oh, and I almost forgot our most important forced catchphrase is should have listened to shitty webcomics.